As I lay in bed and cannot sleep, it is now 4 a.m. There's a reason why my days and nights simply do not end. My problem, you see, is caused by something related to frustration. Hurricane ALS is on my shore. It's hungry, and it feeds off devastation. Unless you're faced with this monster, I'm sure it's hard for most to relate. So let me fill you in on what it's like to face a cruel and terrible fate. I'll tell you my version because no single story is going to be the same, which is part of the reason why this beast finds it so easy to leave behind so much pain. The why and the how did I end up with this terrible disease is a question that we've all screamed when it chose to drop us to our knees. And it's not just those of us with ALS who feel the frustrating emotional pain. Your family and friends are quickly covered by its dark cloud and soaked by its acidic cold rain. You will be told you have 2 to 5 years to survive, and it will be absolutely horrific. You won't be able to walk, talk, or breathe because ALS is truly sadistic. Leaving your fully functional mind trapped in a body that is totally dead, you can still feel everything that touches your skin, your toes, straight up to your head. If a fly lands on your face or you feel a terrible pain or even an itch, trapped in your glass coffin, you pray to be lucky enough just to twitch. 100% fatal, 100% of the time, losing your body completely and being trapped with your clear, stable mind. Name one disease that comes close to killing with such a cruel fate. Go ahead, think about one. I've got tons of time. I'll wait. I'm not minimizing other illnesses or trying to say other diseases are not rougher, but if you put 100 of them in a hat and asked us to randomly draw, we would trade in lieu of what we will suffer. Imagine being you, just normal, living out your happiest, great life. Now imagine having your future and your dreams cut away with an old rusted serrated knife. You instantly break down out of terror and debilitating fear. You panic and you cry and you get mad as you feel all hope quickly disappear. To top it off, I was diagnosed during COVID and it happened via Zoom. I had chosen my backyard for the call instead of being stuck inside of a room. I thought it might be MS or maybe a big fat brain tumor, although ALS floated in the back of my head because I had heard some of the rumors. As she said, I think it might be ALS, but I want you to see my colleague as well. The world spun around me like a top as my heaven turned right into hell. I was floating in a bubble. My mouth was totally without words. I could hear a leaf blower in the distance and I could hear the chirping of some birds. The rest of it was more like silence from her moving mouth as I thought of my impending doom. And to hear you're going to die probably by means of an impersonal Zoom. The appointment with the executioner was 1 week, so far, far away. I gripped hard onto the possibilities and hoped that my life would not be over that day. I drove myself to that appointment and I went through brutal testing one more time, and he confirmed what I already knew, that my life was no longer mine. I shed one single tear in that office on that cursed, horrible day. COVID mask on my face, hyperventilating beneath, I left with nothing to say. I hauled ass as fast as I could crutch, straight out to my big truck. I could barely breathe. My world crumbled as Hurricane ALS had just struck. With a guttural scream, I yelled, "Why? Why? Why?" until my throat was scratched and burning. My voice cracking and screeching, I pounded my fists on the wheel over and over as people stared at me with their heads turning. They were floating by my truck in their happy, perfect, fun lives, untouched by Hurricane ALS that had instantly wiped out mine. What about my little girl? She's only 8. I'm her idol and her best friend. She's going to witness her mommy being shredded to pieces and be forced to see the brutal, cruel end. And what about my husband? We're about to toast to 25 years of a real love story. Hurricane ALS does not care, and it will make shreds of your glory. The pain that this beast has unleashed on my sisters, my brother, and on my mom, and knowing that I'm actually right now in the best part of this hurricane's calm, it's only going to get worse for me and for us as I'm forced to succumb to all the evil ways it wants to destroy me until we are all totally numb. But then you find out there's actually true hope, a lifeline that may save us. So we jump and say, "Hey, will you please throw us a rope? We're drowning. The hurricane's flood is sucking us down at a record's pace with no time. We are treading water to stay afloat, and we're sinking fast. So please, just throw us a line." Our legs cramp up, our arms get weak as we gasp to stay afloat, and yet right in our faces is a fully functioning floating lifeboat. You have told us this boat might not work or carry our entire weight, and to that we ask that you let us decide for ourselves. Our lives should be ours to navigate. What is the alternative to giving us hope? We're already going to drown. Please don't get caught up reading the data as we sink further and further down. The longer we tread water and the longer we're forced to wait, the closer we get to the most terrifying, vicious, tormenting final fate. If you can imagine for 1 minute having buckets of water dumped on top of your head as somebody ties weights to your legs the entire time that you try and tread. Suffocating and gasping for air, you can no longer manage to float, and you start sinking, vision blurred by cloudy water and loss of any and all hope. I will ask you one question with an answer that can shred humanity apart. And it is a question that comes from deep inside of my gut, my soul, and absolutely from my heart. At that dark moment when you sink slowly down with one last grasp to reach the land, would you want me to walk away from you? Or would you want me to turn around and firmly give you my hand? My name is Jamie Rose Caglia-Berry. I have ALS. And I wrote this poem on behalf of myself and all of my friends with ALS who can no longer talk or type or text or speak for themselves. And this is a part I have to read. We ask